Hey everybody, welcome to our special World Book Day Poetry Slam. World Book Day is tomorrow. I thought it was a charity or something, so I was going to put a thing there and demand money again, but apparently it's just like a primary school thing. So we're just going to celebrate its spirit, and we're not even reading books. It's like the anti-books, because it's a completely different kind of enjoyment of literature to just hear it. But, it's just as good, yeah, you like it. That's my thought of World Book Day. Today it's kind of like a new thing that we're trying. We're doing the two-tiered slam. So we've got beginners and we've got the advanced tier. So it's going to work out, there's going to be 3 rounds. Beginners are going to go first, and advanced are going to go first, and then the judges are going to tally out the scores at the end, and we'll be left with, it'll work the same, but with 2 kind of groups, won't it? So we'll be left with our final 3 at the end, and then eventually our winner. So I'd just like to introduce our judges. We've got Maria Apicella, who is a postgraduate tutor, author of The Visitor and the Not Comfortable Poetry called Playing House, and lecturer Catherine Stansfield. Owner of the Ramshackle, which is one of our sponsors, and apparently the coolest shop in Aberystwyth, according to the website, and also, yeah, I said that. And author of More Than I Can Chew. I honestly did memorise all these books. More Than I Can Chew, Bob Thomas. Don't look at me like that, George. Hope you still have a sponsor. And former slam champion, master student, and street musician. You've probably got some CDs in his bag, have you?
No.
What?
I have a band campaign, so George Jones, band campaign.
Do you sell them all?
Sorry?
Do you sell them all?
I've got 2 left.
Online, I guess. I'm George Jones, so we've got several nice prizes. We've got for each tier. We've got a trophy for each, and I've kind of been sitting with them out in the library next to me to pretend that I've actually won them. Just like chilling with my trophies in the library. £50 cash, £10 voucher from Rickety Ramshackle, and Your Mum's Blood by David Towsey. Second prize, £10 cash, £5 voucher from Ipswich Books, and Ricky Mum Turner's brand new swaying chair. And finally, third place, £5 cash, and your choice of an animal bookmark. You can have spider or a little cat.
Rob's book is also the first prize. Rob's book is also the first prize.
Oh yes, we also have from Rob Thomas, More Than I Can Chew. He kindly donated it us today. So without further ado, we'll begin with Harry Brewis from Beginners.
Lovely, thank you very much. How are we doing, lovely people? This is my first slam, so be nice. Now this poem is about kind of talking to your own brain, about all those kind of little problems that it kind of has. It's called Mind of Mine. Mind of mine, you alien child, I spoon-fed you for many years. Pretended it was a plane in some cases, and the things that you spat out I fed to you again. Mind of mine, you shadow of a melody, a homeless drifter on the A41, with a 5-string guitar and no common sense, begging for a shoelace to tie on whilst you go hungry. Mind of mine, you nervous gun clip, you know you're unloaded, so your barrel droops like a snowdrop. No, you put a flower in you, and your shakes are breaking my wrist. Mind of mine, you scar butterfly collector, snatching red admirals for a chameleon tongue. And as you stitch them in, their red eyes close on dusting wings. I know you're lying when you say you can't feel a thing. Mind of mine, you're a condom full of love, and a belly full of drugs. A positive negative flip because love isn't electrics. And you're still such a bad lie to tell me there's anything else. Mind of mine, I can be such a bad parent to you and an even worse child. Thank you very much.
we have Sean?
Hi. This poem is about the London Underground, and it's called Never Mind the Gap. The day wore a bowler hat of night, the white bark of birch, its pinstripe. I lay on my back and stared through the tube map branches that twisted to Bank Station.
Next up it's me. I'm slightly kind of filled with regret about this too. This poem kind of actually changed my life because it made me change what I want to write my writing project about. Sorry. I'm trying to say that. It's based on the Arthur legend. If you know the legend, Arthur accidentally sleeps with his half-sister, or ghost, because it's Arthur and everything kind of goes wrong for him. And he's punished by his son Mordred, who was fated to kill him. This is a poem from Mordred's perspective about being fated to be the villain, and it's imaginally called Mordred. I was woven within a womb, inside a sister's skin, stained by brother's lust. I was sewn from the flayed skin carved of sins of flesh. Our sire, fated to die at my sword, his own seed, sought slaughter of the sons of May. They slipped like petals from their mother's hands and settled like dust on the ocean floor. Our Maker works in wondrous ways, she said, and when that childless wife plucked my tiny, soundless form from that cursed sea wreck, she fought me a blessing from that very Maker, heavenly Creator, to fill the tear-soaked lining of her wasted womb. But I, most fatal of the fates, was not spared to bring eternal joy, but to destroy the seed that sowed me. That Maker looked upon my body, papered in discarded scriptures, as I stood on the threshold of this life and saw me fit for purpose. Was I to be a good man? No, my purpose was due, one that was holy, but would be remembered as wholly wrong. I was beyond redemption before my fated birth, eyes quick to lust, mind quick to rage, a heart that knew no love, till destiny drove him and I together, in battle's glory, wrought in glowing steel. The last sword struck on Camland ground, the blood of 2 generations spilled on hollow earth. As my heart perished, the one whose desire gave me life began to fade. But for him, the gates of Avalon were flung wide open, and only hellfire awaited me. Next up, can we have Audrey, please?
Hi, this is my first poetry slam, so be nice. This is a poem I literally wrote today, and someone referred to it as being rock and roll for writing it a few hours before. It's called A Guide to Public Speaking. Hate giving public speeches, wanting help you've been seeking. Well, there's no need to fear, because what I've got here is my guide to public speaking. Show the paper and smile. By the way, it's got instructions. This guide is to help with writing your speech and help with words on the page. But before giving your speech, I still have to teach you how to stand on the stage. Put feet together. Stay calm, stand tall, and smile as well. But try not to end up pouting. Just drop all that swagger, you ain't no big dragger, and try to avoid shouting! Now that that's over, have a drink of some water. To make sure that your throat is clear. It's now time to speak. You cannot be weak. It's time to conquer your fear of public speaking. The first line's the hardest. The second's hard too. But after that, it shouldn't get worse. So just don't look too manic, and don't die in panic, or you'll be leaving the stage in a hearse. Eye contact's important, so look at your guests. Every few seconds you speak, but don't stare too long. Because that would be wrong. Stop staring at the audience, you creep. Try and tell a joke or two, or something to make your speech fun. But make sure your sweat doesn't get the page wet, or the ink on the page might run. If nerves still persist, then look at your guests and imagine them without any clothes. But if this doesn't help, try not to yell. Just look down and get back to your prose. When you're on stage, make use of the stand in case of a nervous erection. If there's no stand there, pretend you don't care. Just make sure you don't draw attention. The minutes have passed, the speech has been said. It appears that you're still here. You got to the end, so well done, my friend. Just hope that the audience will cheer. Wait for applause, if any. So now that you've done and have no more to say, just try to maintain your stance. Sit back in your chair, but please do not dare attempt any victory dance. Thank you.
Next up, we have Tom Dockerell, please.
That's my cheat. I'll have to do that. Well, if I don't know there'd be a microphone, I would have probably practiced more with the mirror, but oh well, here we go. I thought I'd start off with the right poem. I don't know if you all know, but the 20th anniversary of Bill Hicks' death last week. Nice and morbid, start it off. American comedian. And one of his quotes really been sticking me lately for the slam tonight. And it's, I'm a comedian and a poet. If it doesn't get a laugh, it's a poem. Makes sense. So with that, here's my poem called Smiley. And it's about me being my usual self and ranting quite a lot, as I do. Enjoy. Here, have a smiley face, or a big thumbs up. Hashtag fucking YOLO. It doesn't really matter though, because what really digs at me, and there is a lot, is your tendency to misconstrue, deliberately morph my instant words into a grime and bellyache. This society or fashion of bondage, to pout like a preposterous pilchard, to capture every mind moment on Instagram with sepia tone shimmer, is quite simply ludicrous, daft, stupid, juvenile. Since when did triviality and frivolity become a daily routine to the masses? Snapchatting every meal you eat, tweeting throughout your classes, hawking the internet, press YOLO. To an adulterated agent of Satan. Harry Styles, YouTuber and big man. All the while starving your wasted brain cells whilst the planet is decaying by the day. I don't give a shit what you think is great. I just want to cherish the priceless minute. My exasperated cries of despair will not ignite a revolution, and I don't expect a cure for intellectual pollution. If I have to continue adapting to these new trends, I don't want to be aggravated by supposed friends who would rather dignify their social bubble with a fat smiley emoticon on Facebook, merely to let them know I am not sulky. I hate to burst their bubble, but words transcend the realm of computer-generated communication. Have you forgotten what I think called integration, whilst being glued to that computer chair? I have to wonder why it is I care. Oh yeah, that's right, because I'm the cantankerous one, according to my lack of smiles and thumbs up. Well, if this is to be my farewell message, I'd like to hope you all learned from this little spat. Now everyone, pull a funny face for this Snapchat.
Next up, could we have Meadow, please?
Yeah, that was really unfair because this was really funny and now I'm getting back to angsty, grey teenage girl poetry, guys. Okay, this is called Wound. Cliched fire tresses, cut child paper people, girls, boys wearing dresses, wanton gestures of tongue hand, land lies, living lies, and life lies yet. You are something other. Alien form in uncanny realms of pain, dialect uncalled for, curls around the foreign tongue of injustice. Don't let them hurt you. You are so much more than crazy. Let no definition of expression trap you. Believe you're full of cracks and flaws. Let no word define, outline, bind you to a reality undiscovered by the inhumane cognitions of the human population. When they say you are diseased, of unsound mind, rile in their faces, spit on their tongues, chew on their terminology, and trace its tracks to your own, you are nothing more than a depiction of a stereotyped rag doll, decline their defining. Be so much crazier, zanier, mania, grasp at the language they try to break you with and snap its neck. Flecks of golden eagle eyes or freshly brushed grass, black pool of hole in eye, check yourself. Hail the taxis and call up the cabs. Bring yourself home and warm the establishment with citizens who pretend society can't style them. Touch their mind hearts, moving aside the lungs and redesigning their insides, only to find that we're all the same individuals. Fighting for our suffering to be noticed, we all suffer the worst. Pornographic orifice of communication unfolds, opening unprotected, undefended. Exposure only allows a definition of black-white situation broken down to you are crazy. Righteous mutilated manifestation on unsuspected trauma after effect. Supposedly irrational passion to ration food plus eat all you can buffets, buff it to the blurring bareness of botched living skills, crane your neck to the ceiling and smirk. You have won after all.
Next up, can we have Morgan, please?
So now that I've grabbed your attention, this is my first Poetry Slam as well as the rest of the beginners. Obviously, Poetry Slams are slightly different to rap battles. However, were this to be a poetry battle, this would be the diss poem that I would do against myself. It's called I really need to learn the fucking place tonight. How was that? Is that right? Yeah? Good. Right. It's called Poet. Oh, poet, so heroic the way you splay pages with heartache and heartbreak, all for your art's sake. Each day you stay. Oh, poet, so stoic. You're not crying on the bus, you're just sleeping, not weeping. You're just keeping hidden to shelter from all of us. Oh, poet, so heroic. It's incredibly brave, sharing how you're hurting and she's skirting around another love. Oh, poet, learn to fucking behave. From hero to zero, I cringe as you whinge. Your heart has poor dents. Your father's now has 4 stents. Oh, poet, so heroic, the way you sow pages with your pain whilst blood rages in Ukraine, and you just choke on furious feasts, drinking depression instead of drowning in the flood. Oh, poet, so heroic, maybe it is you melting the house. Oh, poet, so heroic, perhaps you did it to yourself.
That's the end of our beginners round. So next up to start the advanced round, could we have Jack, please?
Hello. Where are we going to go? Here. Any thumbs? Here. Good, thank you. I have not written this down. The silence is going to continue for a while. Okay, so some of you might have seen me perform this before. It works best if it's performed after a woman, so hi Bobby, how you doing? This is lesson 13 in how to pull with poetry. It's premature nostalgia. Can I get your number, darling? And what's your name? It'd be a shame if you were to leave without letting me explain that you caught my eye across the room, and I felt somehow attuned to you, your look, your shock of hair. I'm well aware this sounds prepared, and you probably think I share these words with herds of girls across the land, so I'll expand. Perhaps stand you a drink, give you time to think, so you don't knee-jerk shrink away from me, sink and slink away from me, when I really just want you to be at ease. So please don't gather up your phone and keys, stay, and I'll appease your fears. I'm some freak too full of beers, when I'm really just as I appear, a boy interested in you, my dear, a boy taking your ear. Firstly, I'm not after a one-night stand. Granted, if you rose and took my hand and led me home, well, that'd be grand. I'm just saying that's not the plan. I see a second date for us, a first-rate third date, fourth date plus, veritable dating omnibus. And I don't fuss on going Dutch, I'm not a rich man, I don't have much, but you can't put a price on a tender touch, and some morning soon after loving and such. The morning would bring us close together, and we'll make plans for some shared forever, and you'll ask me, and I'll move in, and you and I can live in sin. We'll sin for years, we'll sin through tears, we'll sin through unevenly developing careers. But your success will never bug me, I'll live to love and know you love me, and then one day I'll feel cliched, I'll get on one knee, suggest we marry, you'll agree. So we can leave that state of sin and contemplate the state we're in, budget barter around again our lives as you and me and him, our first son born, our first son formed of equal parts of you and me, raising him to be what he would be with every bump and scratch and blister, so he inspires the little sister that follows him a few years after, and you and I and them craft a happy home, a home where they grow up, and when they're done with that, they leave, but still retelling enough that there's no time to grieve the poignant loss of youthful dossing in our house, and we receive our first grandchild on New Year's Eve. We don't meet him straight away, yeah, touch too drunk to drive. We start to joke about just how long we've been alive. Then we look at each other and realise that we just don't look old to each other's eyes. Not long after, I lie in bed in a cold and sterile room. You sit crying quietly as I lean into you to say something sweet I haven't thought of yet. But when it gets you two, we're buried with the river view, buried close together, settled in to start that share forever. So, can I get your number, darling? What is your name? Thank you.
Next up, can we have Liam, please?
I'm going to sit down because this poetry is heavy.
Thank you!
And you welcome that. The other one like that is, I was going to raise the roof this evening with poetry, but I couldn't get planning permission. This is the one I was going to read last, so I'm going to read this one first. I think I might have hiccups coming out as well, so excuse me if I do. It's called Atom, and it's an extended metaphor for science. I really do like science. Created and moved by a series of strings, Adam passes and runs through the field, erratic with a pattern attached to him, running he goes as fast as the light that leaves him, moved in parts and particles, by the wire, over matters, rushing but never on time. Adam arrives in 1,000 different places night. Adam's mother lives in the box house with her cat, and no one looks inside, and no one knows the time, and no one comes through town, forever occupied, because there is no time called the present. So he held her for 3 seconds, a moment, and gave her a ring, and all his heartstrings in it, in fractions and 18ths, but she was scared it would leave a fissure in his chest. So they split to create a reaction, fuel the fallout glowing. You're a god, Adam, the nuclear sunset parts. They see you, then they gave you, Adam. Stand the maids that couldn't stand about you, Adam. They'll be blown apart. You're the bomb, Adam. Thank you.
Next up, could we have Dan, please?
Hello. Well, I've got a joke, and that's probably far too loud, sorry. I've got a joke, and I've got a drink to give you moral support. But I do have Lucifer falling from heaven, so hey! Yeah, that's what I thought. This is the first poem I ever did for a slam, actually. The very first one, like March 2012, I think. It's called Milton. Into the fireball night he plunges freefall, matchstick limbs flailing polymorphous, jelly skin flapping omniamorous, girdled loins all thrusting, the bimbled fabled bracket of the sin dark void, the watercolour flush of the apocalypse sky, his lengthening atomic shadow, a lunatic veil or intestate earth. The sea his pillow and leaves him whole, and he embraces the blanket of ocean and wraps it about his transient form of smoke unchained, uncoiled in ashen spit and desire, nuclear its fury and apostate its ardour. Deeper now, and down he dives, though he does not drown, the water a sapphire inspiration flooding his quicksilver lungs. Mercurial Ubermensch descends through the liquid earth, unsung eons dragging him down, ever forever down, these fleeting fathoms of Pelagia, turning to burning magmatic wrath in a scorching planet called darkness unending. Silence dribbles from worn-style lips and trickles down in frozen tears. The glacial stricture bursts a roiling, roaring, raging sound, hurled wingless and wandering from the abyss, a sound transforming, choked mid-breath, a sound that yields the shackled word. Thank you very much.
And next up, can we have Dean, please?
Hello. My voice. Bobby, I hate to be a massive bore here, but do you have a stand by any chance? Because this poetry needs to be held with two hands.
Do you want me to hold it?
No. Oh, it's
I don't think
will you? Nah, it's alright. I'll try my best. Right. So this poem. Wait for it. Sorry, this. Okay. I'm going to start with a hard-hitting rhyme poem here. This is called Gap. Some friends are travelling, some unravelling their future much sooner. Others backpacking in apartments or masters, postgraduate schemes, some shocking disaster, they're planning for this. And me? No plans. I'm taking a gap year. So that's 12 plus months of internet surfing, burning the furnace of my youth whilst I'm yearning for some sort of earning to journey this purpose. My circuit's working nervous, as colours whirling berserk as a circus, spying in mental illnesses as a contract, applying for jobs where you're blind without contact, but only so long can childhood escapes overwhelm these fears when I'm stuck in a rut, riding these rhythms with video games when there's no audience and they're pulling the plug. The only pounds gained are from binging on comforts provided by mum. Yield a black cloud that's sweating the thunder, but the truth is I'm not prepared for the change, too scared of the range. Page turn. Too scared of growing old, skin blending, shedding away in the cage, going in because the friends moving away, and letting jealousy strain in this cold abode, alone with a low night low, without the remedy flame. It's eating and heating, my fear of the welfare and reasoning being seized by disease. The doctors release as government starts ceasing free healthcare. Too scared of aristocrats owning these blocks, with fat cats stealing space from Schrodinger's box. I'm scared of the singular certainty that 5 gap years will pass by before it even occurs to me that I should have applied right at the bachelor's instead of eating meals outside the job centre, nostalgic about university. And lastly, I'll be fearing the failure, near as I trail the path that I've led of the air, no wings, only things supporting as a bit streaming of behaviour. Patient. The hardest part is this part wanting to be both writer and artist part, realizing how unrealistic it is. But the part part, my ambitions, our children, I'll feed them even when the apartment's dark. And the closest light is the bar, the spark. Yes, the target start, but sick was my only opponent. Let me embrace the momentum of a moment, because all we obsess about is the bout of evident success, the pressure to keep on moving. When as long as adrenaline pounds, there's no need to put approving. My dream is there, I'm not about to start letting it down. The social pressures beginning, meddling foul, telling the soul to start settling now. I say no, but this voice threatening how the media scowls, tells me to keep peddling how this bike like wheels. I'll be dead in about 3 days. Don't wait, that's just your head in the ground. I'll walk my way, let the gremlins out. I'm preparing it now, and now that I've read it aloud, I'm thinking outside the box now, free to piece about what I like to call a small individual bed in the clouds. Thank you.
Can we have Paddy, please?
Okay, hello. This first poem is about the end of the world. so it goes. I've seen the end. Yellowed sods of earthen mass where smoke trails descend the storm. I've seen the end. Crippled women screaming allergies to ashenares. I've seen life die as the marshlands rise from land, marsh, oceans and tides. Rats scrambling down bastard sewers. Rabbits with frantic bloody claws. Flamingos' beaks stabbing deep gashes in the sun. I've seen the end. Watery stalagmites rule the caves where blind men cry in agony. I've seen a life where the willows corrode to fig trunks of devastation. I've seen the end where marshland shatter lungs, lives beaten down, and life itself expunged. Bullet waste acorns scorn the flesh, organs blister sharp shrapnel edges, terrible droughts besiege the lands. I've seen the end.
Hold on,
There we go. I've seen the end. I'll see it again. Thank you.
Next up, can we have George, please?
I'm going to come down, gentlemen, and tip up on the way up there.
Hello? Ooh, too close. All right. Okay, this one is written about, does anyone else follow the Lad Bible on Facebook? Hands up. No shame. Oh, there we are. That's good. This was based on an article which I read. They put the snippets of articles and you have to research them to see if they're true, if they're really that interesting, which they're probably not. But this one was about a woman in America who was actually, she's being given lots of money by sugar daddies to essentially become a living Barbie doll. She's actually getting therapy so that she can get stupider. True story. This is about her, called Your Words Not Mine. She'd like to be baked into a single minute, to be trapped in amber made of plastics that can be chipped down to little bits. And she says, yes, it's a look that's classic. Well, here's to 20th century, timeless. How quickly things get injured now, and she adopts it, she says, not because she's spineless, but because she's brave and she doesn't care how. She doesn't even say it's a form of art. She just wears a hashtag in place of her heart, and goes to sessions to thicken that sea fret, so that one day she'll dive and not know she's wet. Shouldn't we strive to be more human, not less? I've loved the deal we've been running for a while, which is to have a mind broader than the waist on your dress and actually have a reason to smile that isn't just because your face was built in that shape, with all kinds of paints so you can't see the tape holding it together. Basically, I think the fact you are this way is the proof, and this is quite funny, that you are exactly what you set out to be, a spoof of where bored rich men put their money.
Thank you to our poets for the first round. We're going to have a short break whilst the judges tally out their scores, so go get a drink or whatever after a few minutes.